I am someone who's always very open-minded, and I ask a lot of questions. And I remember just about to board a flight for my honeymoon back in mid-February. Seems like such a long time ago. I certainly lost the tan. But I had this list of 20 questions about the pandemic. You know, it's just, I was uncertain about some of the things that I'd been reading in the media, and I wanted to know the answers. And by asking these questions, it opened the doorway to exploring a whole new path of the science behind it. And some of the things I discovered didn't really add up to what I was seeing in the mainstream media. Now, what I'm saying here is not to deny that this virus has had a significant global impact. People have lost their lives. It's been deeply traumatic for a lot of people. However, as I've watched over the last 6 to 7 months, and even particularly, more particularly in the last 2 to 3 months, things have really begun to change in terms of the severity of the virus and such. Yet the measures that we continue to face as humanity continue to persist and continue to, in some cases, grow stronger. And yesterday I saw some pictures of the children going back to school, and I don't have any children, and I was heartbroken seeing these kids being separated, put in literally in boxes, and standing separated in the playground. And I just something switched in me, and my wife and I are planning to have a family at some point in the near future, and I just thought, I can't sit here, I cannot sit here and watch this happen and not say something, because I've been tracking the data relentlessly. My wife says there's probably 1 in 100,000 people that will do as much research on any given topic as me. There's probably 1 in 100,000 people that will do as much research on any given topic as me, and that doesn't make me more knowledgeable or wise, but it does mean that I have got an extensive collection of data available at my fingertips. And I've been openly critical of some of the measures about what is happening in the world. I say openly, but really it's in private quarters, in private discussions, or on, the comments on a Facebook feed. And it's not enough. I was afraid to be judged. I was afraid to be criticized. I was afraid what my friends might think, what my family might think, what my loved ones might think, what my wife might think, what my clients might think, what my business associates might think. I even have some people that I deeply respect in my business network who are close friends, and I see their faces when I think about speaking out. I'm thinking, I know that I feel like this question being asked, like, you're going into the political space here, Dan, stick to the business. And that is a tough decision, and I know people in business who have faced that too. I have a business reputation to protect, but in this moment in time, my business is deeply important. It always is, and anyone around me will know that. But actually, there's a human rights issue right now that's facing humanity that I cannot ignore, and it's, to me, far more important than any business priority that I could possibly have. So I've been afraid to speak out. I've been afraid to speak what I'm thinking or seeing, out of fear of being judged or criticized for my actions or my thoughts. But I will say, all that I've ever sought to do has always been out of love and a burning desire to create a better world for the people on the planet, and that continues to be the case to this day. And I truly understand why people have been deeply afraid and maybe continue to be deeply afraid based upon what we've seen in the world over the last 6 to 7 months. The repetition of the cases. It's like a stock ticker. If anyone's ever, I came from the world of banking early in my career. You get these stock tickers, and you get to see the stock prices going up and down all day long, constantly. We've had the same, but with medical statistics, the repetition of the cases, the deaths, the images of the exhausted healthcare workers, jammed hospital corridors. At the early stage in China, we were seeing people dying in the street. How authentic that is, I don't know. Makeshift medical equipment, challenges with medical supplies. All this has been imprinted upon our minds relentlessly for 6 to 7 months, if not more. So understandably, people are afraid. I completely understand why people are afraid. I can understand why people are still afraid to see their friends, to send their children to school, to go back to work. I get it. If that's all you have consumed via traditional media, social media, conversations with your friends, then, gosh, it's inevitable. It's imprinted on our minds. You're going to be in fear. But actually, what I have seen through my own research is that all is not made out to be what it really is on the media. And, you know, we've been presented with the fact that this is a deadly virus that does not discriminate. Well, you know, in the world of fact checkers and fake news, I am sorry, but that needs to be fact checked, because it does discriminate. There is a very clear population of people who are dramatically affected by the virus. Yes, as always, with any medical condition, there are exceptions to that rule. With any medical condition, you know, there are people that are more vulnerable for certain. But to say that it does not discriminate is inaccurate. And to say that it is deadly, whilst it is to some, to me, I think of something like smallpox, which had the possibility to wipe out 1/3 of the planet. It's deadly. But what we've seen is this is like less than 1% of the top population has been infected, like far less than 1% of the world's population. And I am deeply concerned by the level of fear I see in people. I haven't seen my own family since the beginning of the year, and it distresses me. They're in fear. I'm not in fear. But I want to do something to help people come out of this warp of being afraid. I have to do something, because the reality is not the same as what we see in the media. You look at any of the latest graphs or charts, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, but the manipulation and misrepresentation of the facts continues. And what's more troubling to me here is, you know, the lack of transparency around the realities of the situation. You know, I feel like the government has a responsibility now to make people feel safe, to make people feel assured. But where has been the evidence that has changed over the past weeks and months? It is radically different. You just look at any set of graphs that show the cases and the death rate. It's significantly different. Herd immunity is building. This virus is transforming. It is not as severe as it was at the beginning. But what is even less visible, and this is what is equally troubling for me, is the strain that the virus and the pandemic is placing upon democracy, our freedoms and our rights. It's these invisible laws that are being created. And, you know, I'm very, very careful not to come across like a conspiracy theorist, because actually conspiracy theories are right now destroying people's attention. They're decoys. They're taking people's focus away from the matter at hand. I will be very, very careful to fact check myself. But the reality is, countries around the world have been institutionalizing extraordinary measures